And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, I'm working on your financial freedom. And we're going to work on that financial freedom today by talking about my guest from yesterday, Peter. Yeah, we're going to talk about Peter. Even though Peter's not here today, we're going to talk about him. Now, some of you are going, well, dude, is it appropriate for you to talk about somebody when they're not physically there? And yeah, there is a certain decorum that dictates the fact that maybe we shouldn't talk about people in their absence. However, here's what I know about Peter. He doesn't have a problem with me talking about him because he knows that I'm going to say everything as accurately as I can say it, and I'm not going to embellish anything. I'm just going to tell you about the Peter that I know. I'm going to tell you about the Peter that I met almost 5 years ago as part of the Lifestyles Unlimited community. Now, this guy, back in his early days, now he's about my age, okay? So he's in his mid to late 50s. Back in his early years, this guy was a great guy, and he's still a great guy. I'm not saying that anything changed in that area. What I'm saying is that he was the kind of guy that could be your friend. He's the kind of guy you could run into in the gym and start up a conversation with. He's the kind of guy that, well, he enjoys other people. He does. He enjoys helping other people. Now, how do I know this? Well, I know a little bit about his life before Lifestyles Unlimited. Now, Peter, he actually cooked food, prepared food for other people. And when you're a chef, you have to, in your mind, you have to understand that you're doing something for other people. And that's exactly what Peter was doing when he was a chef. On yesterday's show, I specifically didn't tell you something, and Peter specifically didn't tell you something, is that he is confined to a wheelchair. The reason we didn't tell you about him being confined to a wheelchair is because I wanted you to understand the man that Peter is. I didn't want you to be burdened by his physical handicap, because here's the point. Peter's not burdened by his physical handicap. Yeah, he has to deal with it. He has to live with it day in and day out. It's not like he wakes up and it's gone away, although God could do that for him. But the point I want to make is that Peter, like you, is a man that was doing everything that he could to support his family, support his lifestyle, and then in a very tragic accident that occurred to him in one of the most beautiful places in the world, in Hawaii, he wound up breaking his neck. And by breaking his neck, that caused him to go into a wheelchair. Now, check this out. When you break your neck, it's an expensive proposition. It's a very expensive proposition. When you step back and you think of the associated medical costs with breaking your neck, that is enough to bankrupt most people. It is absolutely enough to bankrupt most people. Now, Peter fortunately had insurance and he didn't get bankrupt, but here's one of the things that he did have: a huge pile of medical expenses and no job. That's what happens to you when you break your neck. As a matter of fact, he can't get out of bed unless he has assistance from his beautiful wife, Julie. Now, I'm not saying that his life is miserable. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. What I'm trying to tell you is that his life is very challenging. Everything that Peter does is more difficult than if you or I did it. And the reason for it is we have mobility and he does not. But here's what Peter still has. He has a beautiful mind and a beautiful brain and a beautiful desire to still help other people. Believe it or not, Peter still helps other people. He's been a member of Lifestyles Unlimited since 2017. He lives out in the greater Phoenix metropolitan area. And when he joined Lifestyles Unlimited, he was what we considered a national member. Now, what does that mean? It means that back in 2017, Lifestyles Unlimited was primarily a Texas-based company that was exploring educational opportunities for peoples across the nation. And Peter was one of those first people to take notice that Lifestyles Unlimited provides an educational program that not anybody else provides and services that complement that educational program. And he decided to take a look and join. So what did Peter do after joining? Well, he went through the same educational program that I went through. The exact same educational program. Now, back in those days, we would export out what we consider our 2-day financial freedom course. So what's that? The 2-day financial freedom course is designed to teach you everything you need to know to go from literally zero to hero when it comes to real estate investing. Yeah, it's 16 hours. We need 16 hours to change your mindset and to teach you how to invest correctly into single family and multifamily assets. It does take 16 hours. This is not you can get it done in 16 minutes type of thing. No, it's 16 hours. It's 16 hours of everything you need to hear, everything you need to know, and it can be a little overwhelming. It can be overwhelming to some people, which is part of the reason we allow all of our members to attend that course as many times as they like. And in today's modality, we offer that course in a live format and also through the internet. So you can actually view one of our live presentations through the internet, and it's almost like being there. The only difference is you can't shake anybody's hands. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to do that through the internet. They haven't figured that part out, right? So back in the day, Peter attended the Financial Freedom Seminar, and in those days, there was only 2 ways to do it. You wait until we, as Lifestyles Unlimited, come out to where you're at or to a place close to where you're at and you attend physically, or you take the course through the internet, but not the same way that we do it now. Now it's live and interactive. Back then it was a recorded copy of what we do live. So Peter went through the Financial Freedom Seminar and got the information that he needed to change his life. And one of the things that he quickly realized was that he needed to surround himself with successful, like-minded people. Yeah, you heard me correctly. He had to surround himself with successful, like-minded people. And you heard him say on the show yesterday that back when he got started, he only met like 1 or 2 other people that were members of Lifestyles Unlimited. And what Peter realized that he was missing was that interaction with other members, that ability to discuss the concepts that we teach in the Financial Freedom Seminar with other members, to share experiences, to talk about, well, what are you thinking about doing? This is what I'm thinking about doing, and bouncing ideas off of other people. So he would meet with these other members in restaurants. They would go and they'd have lunch together and they would talk about real estate. And this became very critical for Peter's success, because as members started to populate in the Phoenix area, he got to meet more and more Lifestyles Unlimited members. Now, one of the challenges that they had back in the early days of Lifestyles Unlimited in the Phoenix area was they had no place to meet. There was no place to meet. So Peter became one of our ambassadors. He was one of the first guys to raise his hand and say, you know what? I know that you guys do things a certain way in the Texas market where you have offices. I'm out here in the Phoenix market and there's no offices out here. So we don't get the same level of support, but I want to change that. I would like to recommend that I be the guy responsible for putting together meetup events, putting together opportunities to have Lifestyles Unlimited members come together, share information, and do the things that we do as Lifestyles Unlimited members. And more importantly, he said, you know what? If you guys are willing to put an office out here, I will help you go and do the search to find the proper location. See, Peter had his hands in the framework for our expansion outside of Lifestyles Unlimited, even though he's confined to a wheelchair. Yeah. He's confined to a wheelchair. And that's the point I want to make to you. Peter may be physically confined to a wheelchair, but he's not confined mentally to anything. As a matter of fact, his mind is still vibrant, it's still brilliant, and he still thinks through situations critically and comes up with the right solutions. As a result of Peter's efforts, we have a flourishing community of like-minded real estate investors in the Phoenix area. Now, I can't give all the credit to Peter because Peter, he's just part of a team that was doing all this stuff. So the point I want to make to you is this. When you feel like you can't do something, consider Peter and consider him in a wheelchair. We'll be back after this.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
What is Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, up to in today's market?
I'm out there right now looking and buying everything I can get my hands on for a better deal than what I could get it for a week before. And I'll just keep buying. I did that back in 2008. I bought a property that was worth $35,000 a door. I bought it for $26,000 a door. Next month or so, I bought the same age property, and I bought it for like $19,000 a door. But by buying at 26 when they were getting killed from 35 down to 26, buying at 26, let the broker know I was a buyer in a downward spiraling market. And so from that point on, I bought 3 or 4 more. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 4 more I bought from there. And the brokers were just bringing them to me. Go, look, you seem to be the only guy buying right now.
Are you ready to take advantage of the wave of opportunity coming to those who know what they're doing? Join us for the free online workshop at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, I'm working on your financial freedom. I'm doing so by talking about my good friend Peter. Now, Peter was on the show yesterday. We had a lot of fun yesterday. We were talking about all kinds of things real estate related, and it gave you an insight as to who Peter is as a person. But there's one very important detail that I chose to leave out of yesterday's show, and here it is. Peter's confined to a wheelchair. He is technically a quadriplegic, meaning he doesn't have control of his legs or his arms. Now, he does have some mobility in his upper body. I have seen this mobility become better over time. Yeah, so something's going on with his body that's giving him the ability to move his shoulders, and he can move his arms around a little bit. He doesn't have control of his hands, but he can control his arms now better than he could when he had his accident. So let's take you back to the accident. Let's see if we can frame what happened in your mind. Now, Peter, he's enjoying vacation time with the family. He's in a beautiful place. It's called Hawaii. He was swimming or doing whatever he was doing in the surf. A rogue wave hit him, and ultimately the result of the rogue wave hitting him was the fracturing of his neck. And at that very moment, Peter's life dramatically changed. He went from being somebody who has full mobility like you and I have to being somebody who does not have full mobility. And here's the other thing that he had the benefit of receiving when he broke his neck: unemployment. You heard me correctly, unemployment. Yeah, he was a critical care nurse. How do you go back into the nursing field as a critical care nurse when you yourself need critical care? It's kind of impossible to do. And when you look at what else he had done in his life, what he had trained to do, he was a chef. How do you prepare food when you're a quadriplegic? You don't. He was a restaurant manager. Now, I believe it's possible to manage a restaurant as a quadriplegic, but that's not something he had done for many years. And at this point where he injured himself, he's a critical care nurse. Okay, these are jobs that require a certain dexterity, a certain skill set that all of a sudden he lost. Through no fault of his own, he lost that skill set and he became unemployed. That's right. He didn't have a job. On top of that, he went through a lot of medical procedures, When you're a quadriplegic, there's a lot of things that they try and do to get you back to your whole self, while also knowing that in doing so, they may not be able to get you back to your whole self. And it takes time to go through the medical process. It takes time to go through the physical and occupational therapies. It takes time to try and rebuild your life. And it takes time to get past the mental duress of your new lifestyle. It is a difficult thing. But you never heard in Peter's voice yesterday any regrets that he has regarding his life, did you? No, he was very positive. He was very upbeat. And the entire time he was on the show, he was focused on helping you. He was focused on helping you. And he didn't want you to know, well, actually, it was me. It was actually me. I was the guy that caused him not to tell you that he has a severe physical handicap, because I didn't want you to use that as a crutch to say, oh, well, he's got a handicap, so he probably had a bunch of people helping him out. No, he didn't. Well, yes, he did. But no, he didn't. But yes, he did. Okay, let me explain myself. So no, he didn't. He didn't have a bunch of people like swarming all over him to say, hey, we got to fix your life. No, he was pretty much, him and his family, they were in charge of repairing his life. But once he became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, he had a lot of people that were willing to help him with developing his financial freedom. Now, let me take you back to the accident. Remember, the accident caused him to be unemployed, completely unemployed. It caused him to have a huge pile of medical bills. Now, how do you pay your medical bills when you don't have a job? Exactly. You don't. Or you turn to your spouse and you go, hey, honey, guess what? I can't work anymore. So can you take on a second job? Because all of a sudden there's a giant sucking sound in our household. There's no income coming from me. Oh, and by the way, I'm causing expenses to rise because of my medical condition. All right. Now, when you think about it, that's probably exactly what was going through Peter's mind. But Peter is a very positive person. He's a very, very motivating person. When you get the opportunity to meet Peter, and you will, when you become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited and you take yourself to the Expo event, that's our annual event that we throw, 5,000 people running around a convention center having a great time. Peter's always there, and you'll have the opportunity to meet Peter. He's pretty easy to pick out of the crowd. We don't have a bunch of people driving around in custom wheelchairs, but Peter is one of those guys doing it. And you're going to find he is just a great guy. He's just a great guy. He's the same great guy he was before his accident. So the physical barriers didn't change who he is. The physical barriers just changed his circumstances and his situation. Does that make sense? So here's the point I want to make to you. What's holding you back? What's keeping you from having the life you've always wanted to have? What is causing you to not take the steps you know you need to take in order to achieve financial freedom? Specifically, I'm talking to those of you that listen to this show day in and day out, and you've taken absolutely no action to change your life. You listen to what I say. You listen to what Mike and Andy say. You listen to what Del Walmsley says. You agree with all of us. You think this is this is good stuff. I should do this. But for whatever reason, you can't come to grips with the fact that you need to take action, that you need to take a step forward to do something different. Now, Peter in his life, he had no choice but to take a step forward and do something different after his accident. He had no choice. I mean, really, when you think about what are the options, when you've just broken your neck, you have two choices: give in or fight. And I think those are the same two options that we have for just about anything that we deal with in the world. Even with your job, you can give into your job or you can fight to get out of your job. So what is keeping you from having the life that you've always wanted? Fear. Did you hear any fear in Peter's voice yesterday? Never. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can do everything that we talk about on this radio show. Now, fear is a pretty intense emotion. You are allowing that fear to overcome you. That fear has now become a false belief in your psyche, and as a result of that, you reject everything because of that fear. That's the problem with fear. So, how do you get past this? How do you do the things that we talk about on the show that get you to the point where you achieve retirement? Well, the first thing you have to do is educate yourself. Absolutely. The first thing you have to do is educate yourself. When you become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, you will become a part of what we call our Financial Freedom Membership Program. That program is designed to give you everything that you need to be a successful real estate investor. It is highly concentrated on education. As a matter of fact, the first thing that you have to do when you become a member of our program is you have to go through the 16-hour educational process. Without that education, all the other components that we provide to you, they're kind of useless. They really are. They're kind of useless. So what are these other things that complement the education? Well, we have case studies. What's a case study, you might ask? Well, a case study is an event that we throw. We do them literally every week, and it's an opportunity for you to learn from your fellow Lifestyles Unlimited members. These are members that have gone out, they've invested in a particular type of asset. Maybe they're invested as a single-family investor. Possibly they're invested as a passive investor in multifamily assets, or maybe they're a lead investor or a independent rental operator that does all the operational piece in the multifamily space. Maybe one of those three modalities is the way you ought to go, but you have some fear. You have some fear holding you back. You have fear keeping you from understanding that what we teach you in these case studies is designed to help you understand that you too can be successful. See, the people that present at case studies, they are our successful members. And they're not just the one or two that are successful. They come from a very large pool of very successful people. Now, not everybody is a public speaker. Not everybody wants to do the case study thing because they have a fear of public speaking. Okay, I get that. I do get that. But ironically, even those with the fear of public speaking are willing to attend a case study and present information to you because they want to help their fellow members. That is a huge part of our culture at Lifestyles Unlimited, the ability to help other people, the desire to help other people. It's huge. So what else is a part of this membership program? Well, besides that, you get access to our member services team. And you're thinking, so what? Why do I need access to the member services team? Well, here's why. Everyone that serves on our member services team is a successful real estate investor. You can't get on the Lifestyles Unlimited member services team unless you prove that you have done what we teach at Lifestyles Unlimited and you've achieved success. Now, why do we hold that standard so high? Because these are the people that you're going to be able to communicate with regarding all the educational information that we share with you. Some of the educational information, it can be a little intense, or it could go into an area that you don't fully understand. So as a result of that, maybe you didn't know to ask the right questions during the presentation. So maybe now that the course is over, you're reviewing your notes and you're going, I just don't understand this whole thing on leasing. Not a problem. You pick up the phone, you call our member services team, and you talk it out with them. You walk through, okay, this is what I understood, but I think I missed something here, and they're going to help you fill in the blanks. They are a combat multiplier for you. It's a huge, huge benefit. Another thing you get access to is our vendor team. Now, our vendor team is comprised of all types of different entities that provide services to you as the real estate investor. See, one of the key concepts you're going to learn is that you have to build a team around you. That's so you don't have to do all the work. That's exactly why you do it. So you're going to build a team of white collar and blue collar people around you. So who are these types of people that you're going to have around you? Well, they're different types of lenders. They're different types of contractors. They're different types of inspectors. They're different types of attorneys. They're different types of everybody that you need in order to build your real estate team. And if you happen to be investing in a part of the country where we don't have as deep of a bench on our vendor team, we have members that are willing to help you build that team. They're willing to go the extra mile to help you develop your team because we want you to be successful. This is all about being successful. So the Financial Freedom Membership Program is designed to make you a successful real estate investor. And again, that emphasis is on the education. You have to understand what you don't understand. And we lay it all out for you. Okay, let me give some insight as to what we actually talk about in that 16 hours. Now, a big portion of it is designed to make you challenge your conventional thinking. Yeah, everything that you think right now, we are designed to help you challenge it all. Now, some of it may be absolutely perfect for you, but we know for a fact that a lot of it is not, because we know a lot of you are trading time for money, and that's not what we do at Lifestyles Unlimited. We are retired. We don't trade time for money. That's a big difference. That's a big difference between us and your financial planner. I got a young friend that just got a job as a financial planner. He's all excited. He's going to go take his series whatever tests and et cetera, right? And I just casually just kind of looked at him. I congratulated him on getting the job. First of all, I'm happy that he found employment. But here's the problem. This young man who's not too far out of college, who's about 25, 26 years of age, is going to go take a bunch of tests to get some series licenses so that he can advise you on how to retire yourself. And he is nowhere near retirement himself. Nowhere near retirement himself. And I'm not picking on you, Tom. I'm just happy for you that you got a job, but you and I are now arch nemesis now, because you are teaching people something that, in Al's opinion, is incorrect. What we teach at Lifestyles Unlimited, in Al's opinion, is absolutely correct. It is absolutely the way you need to do things. So getting back to what we teach you in the Financial Freedom Seminar, there's a segment where we talk about your belief system. We do. We talk about your belief system. What do you believe in? What should you believe in? And we're not talking religion or anything like that. We're talking financial concepts. We're causing you to look at your investments and determine whether or not your investments are giving you the types of returns that you need to have. If they're not, then you need to reject those investments, change them out, and then change them to investments that do make sense, which takes me to the rest of the course where we talk about how to buy single family and multifamily assets. And most importantly, we talk about how to operate those assets, because operation is the key to the game. It is the success rating. That's how you achieve success, is by learning how to operate properties correctly. As a matter of fact, investors like Peter and myself, we're just kind of chomping at the bit right now, because we know there are people out there that prior to 2023 were buying properties that they really had no business buying, but they were buying them anyway because they were buying them based on the fact they felt those properties would appreciate. But now that interest rates are going up, we're seeing some compression in the pricing in some of the real estate markets. And as a result of that, we're seeing some people realize that they invested incorrectly. And as a result of that, they're having to return those assets to the marketplace. In other words, make them available for people like Peter and I to buy. We will go in and buy those assets, and we will operate those assets correctly after we buy them correctly. Look, a lot of stuff I hit you with today, but the key thing is this. If fear is holding you back, the easiest way to tackle the fear is to become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited. Go to lifestylesunlimited.com, get signed up for a free workshop, and let's get you going.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the host, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.